Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello to you and welcome back to the channel. Good morning today from Estoril, Portugal, where you join me for the launch of this car blasting around now. It's the new BMW M5, the latest 6th generation now of the M5, featuring M xDrive, the four-wheel drive system that you can turn to entirely two-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, should you wish. Now today I'm going to show you all around the car, inside and out, then I'll get an opportunity to take it out for a drive on the roads local to Estoril, then we'll be back here for some circuit driving, some experience with the car out on the track. Naturally, I'm looking forward to this one. There's a lot to show you, the technology in this car, so let's get started. Firstly, before we talk a lot about the new car, there's a little lineup on display here of some of the previous generations. So the 5th gen that came just before, the F10, then before that was the E60 with the V10. Number 3 sat here too. The first 2 have just gone out for test drives, but also over in the corner there is the M5 safety car for the MotoGP, and I've actually driven that car before now, and that's another video that's going to be coming very soon, so stay tuned for that. But for now, let's head over to the new one and have a look around it. Let us now walk around the F90 M5. The F90 is the code name from M GmbH, but of course it's developed upon the G30 5 Series, and I've done a video in full with the 520D, so it shares a lot of the consumer technology and interior features with that car, but some fundamental differences, namely the M xDrive system and the biturbo V8 in the front. Now I went for a pre-drive outing with this car with Timo Glock to experience, it was a heavily camouflaged car, but to experience what that system's like with four-wheel drive or with two-wheel drive, all of the power going towards the rear, and we'll talk more about that later on today as well. But firstly, let's come through and have a look at the engine in the front. So straight to the power plant of this car, a double pull of the lever. And this car is presented in blue, which in the early morning sunshine here looks incredible. But let's come around, lift from above the kidneys, where you have the 4.4 litre biturbo V8 that sounds something like that as the cars go around. It's finished with a carbon fibre piece over the top, with that nice M presentation as well, symbolising the 8 cylinders that the car has. So it's good for 600 horsepower, 750 newton meters of torque. That means with xDrive, 0 to 62 miles per hour or 100 kilometers an hour is just 3.4 seconds, and it will go on to a limited top speed of 250 kilometers per hour or 155 miles per hour depending on your system. You can have the M drivers package, which will raise that to a top speed of 305 kilometers per hour or 190 miles per hour. Walking around the car, it isn't necessarily too beefed up, too butch. You can see it's more aggressive than the standard car. It has wider intakes for more cooling through to that engine. Obviously, being a big V8, it needs a lot of airflow to keep it running at good temperatures, but also for a little bit more downforce for the power the car is capable of. You have the signature M pieces there just behind the front wheel wells, and coming round to the rear, it's about the exhaust system, the quad tailpipes that are synonymous with BMW M, and also the lip spoiler just neatly over the top. But there's not that much of a giveaway of what this car is capable of. I would say it's very discreet as you take a look around it. It doesn't necessarily scream or shout too much. Let's come and have a glance at the inside here. I do love that the cars are just driving around in the background. It does make this very fun, where this car has a contrasting white interior, which I'd say looks very good. I like the dual tone of the seats. And if we step in, where you can see the digital displays both in the center and also there for the main navigation system. Some of the big differences in here are having the M modes with red buttons there, easily reachable from your thumb while you're driving, and also the red start button, which I will press right now, and it comes into life with a very, I would say, traditional BMW sound. It's a familiar sound that we're used to hearing. Now in here, as you can see up top, you have your variable controls for steering, dampers, and also for the engine and powertrain. You can also change the drive logic system. You have the 8-speed ZF, with M configuration. So again, developed by them to make it more specific for this car. You can change the drive logic though and make shifts quicker or slower. You adjust your various setup elements here, so you can change the drive to be exactly how you want. And then you have all of the usual technology we're seeing in the latest round of BMWs and assistance packages and the like. So I'm going to take the car out for a drive, then we'll come back and have a more detailed look around the interior afterwards. But there is a lot to see with this. It's a very, very exciting new car, and I can tell you from my pre-drive, the way this M xDrive system works is utterly brilliant. But let's go and experience it on the road for the first time and see what it's like out there. As we depart from the circuit, the thing with this car is that it's very much a wolf in sheep's clothing. It feels like a regular luxury family saloon car. It's quiet, it's comfortable, it's easy to drive, it's totally unintimidating. There is no almost sense of what it's capable of when you start driving the car. Yes, if you accelerate, you get a little bit of the noise of the V8, although you haven't heard any of that yet. We're going to hear plenty more of it when we escape towards some nice roads, but generally, it just feels easy and relaxing and quite quiet and well insulated and that side of things. The seats are brilliant, the seats are very supportive and comfortable. The steering wheel is nice to hold and feel, the visibility is good, the general positioning is very nice. All of that side of things, of course, is completely dialed in because it's a 5 Series, and the 5 Series is a very significant car. There's a huge number of them that are built. The M versions, though, are a little bit more special, and M is actually growing quite significantly. They're selling about 66,000 cars so far this year of BMW M models or M Performance models, and they're aiming for 100,000 models in total. So the range is growing very, very quickly from where it started. Anyway, let's head this way. We should be able to find us some interesting roads to play around on. It's all just very soft and, you know, quiet and calm. And then you get that little bit. Obviously, I'm driving in efficient, comfort, smooth, everything in the softest modes possible at the moment. We've got the M dynamic modes that I'll play with shortly, but just to get a sense of the car and what it's like initially, I think I've pretty much summed it up. Wolf in sheep's clothing, because right now it feels very much like a sheep. But let's experience the wolf element. Let's press M1 and see what that does. So that's set up just gently a little bit more towards sport settings, sport in the engine terms, but comfort on the suspension and steering. You can configure these, by the way. You can set them up how you want them. So M2 here is clearly into a more serious M mode. There we go. You can hear Sport Plus. It's gone and traction into Sport mode as well. Sport on suspension, Sport on steering, and just the noise in the background makes it feel more lively immediately. Shifting down very promptly without requirement, without request, which I like. I like a car that gives you that sense of wanting to go, wanting to get up and pick up some pace. So we're in 4-wheel drive sport mode with the MDM. So I should talk about the different driving modes. You basically have DSC on, then you have M dynamic mode, which is 4-wheel drive still, then you have DSC off, and within DSC off it will be 4-wheel drive by default, then you can put it into 4-wheel drive sport, then you can put it into 2-wheel drive. So in total you have 5 different driving modes, different characteristics of the car. I like that noise in the background. It's choosing brilliant gears. The gearbox is obviously an incredible piece of kit and well engineered. We can configure all of this even more in a custom way. So suspension into Sport Plus, which would be more appropriate on the track. I can immediately feel the variable dampers have stiffened up. There's a wider spectrum in what the car is capable of. Steering as well. Oh, I felt it. So I literally pressed it while turning. I felt it tighten and get a little bit heavier as well. So variable steering, and then you've got the noise. You can shift gears with the paddles. So down to 4th, down to 3rd. Just listen to a bit of this. Yes, that's good. Okay, so we're out on a very appropriate road now. Countryside twisty road. This is exactly the kind of place I like to drive to experience a car. Yes, this car would be very at home on the motorway, and yes, we're going to be driving it on a racetrack later on, but for now, it's very welcoming. You can grab it, it turns in nicely, downhill, chucking a fairly big weight, of course, but 40 kilos lighter than the previous model, previous generation M5. Yeah, quick too. Looking down at the massive head-up display. Well, not even looking down, obviously. Head-up display is right in front of your visibility, and BMW create these displays now with lots of information. They tell you everything you need to see at one quick glance. Well, this is a perfect road to enjoy the car. You feel some weight, you feel some roll naturally. Like I said, it's a fairly big car to throw down a tight countryside road like this into the red line just to experience it a bit. You get a nice display on the head-up display letting you know exactly what you're doing there. We're not actually in the sharpest of the drive logic modes, so you have the switch on top of the gear lever that lets you change those depending how you want to have it set, and obviously it will return back to automatic on the gearbox control if you don't continue with the pedals, or if you push it once more to the right, then it will be in the sport mode as well. But just a bit of noise for a moment. It's lovely up here. It's fair to say I am having quite a lot of fun. I think that's what's special about this car, is how easy it is to drive it quite hard, if that makes sense. You feel very at home, very comfortable, very able to just grab it and drive it in a very, very brisk manner, which is quite unusual in this kind of car. More familiar in something smaller and a bit more nippy, but when you consider the size, to be able to drive it like this is really quite something. Before I swap over now to the track car, I'm back here at Estoril and go out and experience it on the circuit. Let's have a little look around some of the interior aspects and functionality of this car. And I think first thing we should do is actually hear a little bit of it. So I'm in efficient, comfort, all of those modes. Press on M2, again to confirm because of changing the traction settings. M dynamic mode, MDM as it's known, or like I said before, you can press these various buttons, and if we put the powertrain element into Sport Plus, we will get extra noise. You have the button here for the sports exhaust. So let's just hear what this sounds like. Ooh. It has nice crackles on the overrun, nice sort of burbles that you get there. So we're loaded with technology, like I said. You have things that we've seen on other BMWs, so for example the camera system, the 360-degree cameras that work very well, the button here that takes you straight to your assistance, or in this case intelligent safety control, where you can configure the different things that you have turned on. You get the point here: lane changing, collision warning, all sorts of different features and bits of functionality. But the one I want to show you that we're going to be experiencing on track is what happens in terms of M dynamic mode and the configuration. So if we were back in the regular normal driving mode, or in this case let's go back that way, DSC on, DSC off here, well, one press and it goes into MDM, press and hold and it will go into DSC off, and this is where you can configure your different driving modes. Now this is done four-wheel drive for speed off the line, being able to put the power down early in corners, and basically having a lot of grip and stability. Four-wheel drive sport will allow a little bit of slip. It will allow you to play around, have some fun, have a little bit of slide while still having control. Two-wheel drive is where you're left to your own devices. Rear-wheel drive, all of the power at the back, and that's where you need to start being a little bit careful. And actually there's a warning light I spot up there just to let us know that that's the case. So I'll go through those different modes in the drive on track, but that's just a little understanding so you know how it works. I'll show you all around the interior shortly, some of the other bits and bobs, but I'm looking forward now to heading over to track time. Also, just to show you the key here, the digital touchscreen display key, although I'm just going to pull that closer so we can see a little bit of the screen in the bright sunshine here, but you've got different screens that you can go through and you can see the various bits of vehicle information, or whether the windows are closed, that kind of thing in here. You can also see the range to empty, and you can set the time you're going to depart next to get the air conditioning running, which is quite nice. So there's fun stuff you can do in there. Open the boot, of course, and it just looks quite nice. And we're also joined now by the first generations. Here we go then. Spec on the cars ever so slightly different. These cars have black wheels, but same ceramic brakes as the car that I've been driving earlier. Pace car as well, showing us that the car was launched actually at the launch of Need for Speed Payback, and then public showing was at the Frankfurt Motor Show. Here we go. Here we go then, out onto track. So we've got predefined modes that we're allowed to drive in today, and the first is with button 1 pressed, which is effectively 4-wheel drive, Sport Plus powertrain, sport suspension, and comfort steering. After a little bit of sightseeing, we're now off on our own, so flat out, down straight, 220, 230, 240, we'll get up towards 250 exactly. Earlier on the brakes than I think I needed to be. We've got the ceramics, they are very, very good on the anchors. I'm still in M1 mode, so that will mean probably a little bit of traction intervention, like right there, you can feel it stopping me from doing anything silly. This is normal 4-wheel drive. We'll carry on and put it into M2 and experience a bit of 4-wheel drive sport in a moment, but you can feel traction just holding back, the throttle going down slightly. This is, I suppose you could say, sensible mode, although here we've got the uphill tight corner. This is where 4-wheel drive gives us that earlier power than you'd otherwise have, although again, I'm trying to drive it a little bit too aggressively, so as soon as I get a moment, let me pop it into M2 mode, which is set up in here. There we go, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go, there we go. So 1 press and another to confirm. So now we've got MDM 4-wheel drive sport, which means Sport Plus, and sport in the settings. 4th gear, let's go, let's go. Oh, and we're manual on the shift panels too, I hadn't actually noticed that. So, firm on the brakes. Oh, that braking, stunning. Into the corner, keep mid-track here, but you can feel it's already a little bit more playful. Already, there we go, it lets you lean on it. That feeling that brings about the M Performance smile on your face driving in this car. Oh my gosh, you can properly feel it. 4-wheel drive has, it's just unintimidating. You can just go and absolutely blast this car. And it sounds so good. Oh my goodness. So let the back go, there we go. Controlled, easy ability to misbehave. Yes! So there's going to be a lot more of this in my other video piece. Make sure you check that out, driving in the safety car. But for the time being, this is pretty awesome fun. Come out onto the start line, use the rumble strips, and away we go. Woo, okay. I think the big thing here is that the car just feels at home and ready to just blitz and be driven very, very hard. Hard on the brakes down towards this first corner. Downhill, let the back a little loose. And this is just 4-wheel drive sport. We can't use 2-wheel drive, unfortunately, right at this moment. The brakes are so good. You can feel the balance. This is awesome. Okay, and you've got, it gives you so much feedback. So much feedback. Quiet while I concentrate a bit more. Woohoo! Woohoo! Wow, okay. So, what a feeling. Head-up display, shift lights, blitz is up to 250.
So it's time to do cool down, unfortunately. So we gotta go slower and just cool down the brakes, try and not brake too much, just just to get the temperature out of them. Good job, we had fun. Very well done.
Cool, man. More to come of this in the other video. Do check that out. But I think initially, it's just phenomenally easy to drive this car very hard, and it's very reassuring in the way it goes about it. You just feel naturally able to drive it very hard immediately. Just no stress. You can feel the balance, the weight transfer, the whole feel of it. And just give it a little, you know, like kick it and feel the four-wheel drive system just clinging on a little bit. It's just pure entertainment and fun. And I like driving it an awful lot. Yeah, you see my point? Oh, what a hilarious machine. Thank you, BMW, for making this and for letting me drive it today. Wow. Full drive sport, it just gives you that confidence. This, ladies and gentlemen, is that M Performance smile. You can't drive this car without beaming from side to side. It's just such an enjoyable thing to be at the wheel of, and makes you feel completely at home driving it very, very quickly. That's the most impressive thing, is just how much confidence you can get out of it and just drive it hard without any stress in the world. Anyway, that brings an end to my track stint. We'll head back inside. That was awesome fun. It goes without saying, but next for me, I'm going to jump into the pace car with former DTM winner Bruno Spengler. He's going to show us how to drive properly. Like that. Beautiful. Yeah, watch behind us. Back into the pit garages, there are a couple of other things to look at, and the first right here is the M5 First Edition. So there are going to be 400 launch editions, effectively, of the M5 in the frozen dark red paintwork, so the satin paintwork, and all 400 of those are already sold out as it happens. I mean, that looks pretty good against the cream interior. There's another car, if I come the other way, where we have a demonstration of the M Performance parts. So if I come in close, show you this, in the engine bay, there is an additional carbon fibre plate there towards the front. On the exterior, you can see the decal livery, traditional M style around the front, the side skirt running above the new carbon fibre side skirt down at the bottom as well, and coming around towards the rear. A couple more parts just there, as well as the carbon lip spoiler on the rear deck lid, and down at the bottom, the M Performance exhaust system, which, take my words for it, sounds incredible, but you'll hear that soon. Back over to the lineup, and in particular my car, or at least the car that I drove on the test drive route earlier. But let's have a last little look around at some of the details that I haven't yet shown you, and I guess I'll start at the rear. Let's open the boot, power fold, naturally up it goes. Decent amount of space back there, practical, usable, everyday kind of car. You can close it with holding the key fob button or pressing the button up here. Drop it back down. Come round, just jump inside and have a little more detailed look around the interior of the car. So just the seat controls that you can see from down here, the lumbar support and adjustments you could make. Taking a step into the car, you have another button just there you can see on the door to open and close the boot as well. Usual window controls, folding mirror button, Lock, unlock. We've got the Bowers & Wilkins sound system, which is really rather good. Let's just start it up into life, just so you can see the dashboard comfort access style, the steering wheel raises and lowers. So automatic light controls down here, has the very nice LED lighting. On the steering wheel you can see the buttons for lane assist, adaptive cruise control, distance, all sorts of things you've got on here. The natural voice, so the way you can talk to the car and it translates what you say. Those red M1, M2 buttons, the board computer and lights, your wipers on the other side. There's very large digital display, and I do like the way BMW continue to have these silver rings around the screen behind. It gives a slight analog feel to it while still having the functionality and ability of a digital dashboard with the extra parts that come with that. Over to the center, this screen does just about everything. As you know, you can, if I just use the iDrive controller down here to go through the different menus and things, literally you have the whole lot in there, so you name it, you can play with it and set it up exactly how you want. I've always quite liked this screen that BMW now have for air conditioning controls, having the touchscreen down here, heated seats, ventilated seats if you want them both on at the same time. I just think it's a neat integration. I like the way they do that. I mean, the cabin is very functional first. If I close this, you've got the charging pad down there, so you can charge the key in there next to the cup holders, and a 12-volt socket just there at the back part of that section. One thing I'm not a huge fan of is this trim material, this kind of faux carbon fiber, or maybe it's real carbon fiber. It's a bit weird. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I do like the button setup, the exhaust, change how loud and quiet it is, parking sensors, camera, auto handbrake, and the new shifter style. So park down there, and it's slightly illuminated as well, so in the dark looks quite neat. You can change colours and things as per usual. Looking around, what else can I show you? The seat belts. The seat belts are very cool with the M stripe. I really like that. Very nice. Well done BMW for that one. The M5 logo there in the headrest. Headrest neatly sits down and up with the back shape here, which is quite neat as well. Into the rear, maybe I'll jump into the back in a second to show you around there as well. But other than that, it's all pretty, I suppose, self-explanatory. You can't change too much up here on the dash. Just basically go through everything in this, and it's super connected. You know, every BMW comes with a SIM card, is connected to the outside world, and has all the functionality you could dream of it ever having. So let's step into the back, just have a glance in here and see what it's like. So that front seat was quite far back, to be fair, in that position. So as you can see, there's not huge quantity of space, but I could do a long journey in the back here without being too uncomfortable. And again, you've got a similar display down here for the rear climate control, which all does what it's supposed to do, as well as nice lighting up here too. So got armrest, just pressing as I go here, and playing cup holder system. I guess you could have a through load to the boot here. Same seat belts, which is a nice thing to have into the back with the M stripes. Otherwise, window blinds too. Otherwise, exactly what you'd expect. Even illuminated M5 door sills for the rear passengers too. So, this is it. The gentle burble there. This is the new BMW M5. A car I can tell you right now that I would not mind having in my future garage, as we listen to one just going around. It is a brilliant kind of car for daily, everyday purpose usage, but still, when you get it to the track and you drive it in a serious environment, it has every bit of fun and performance that an M car should have, as well as the stability and all-weather usability that comes with four-wheel drive. So 2 + 2 has literally equaled 4 in this instance. Well done BMW, well done BMW M. This has been an awesome day. A car that I've thoroughly enjoyed driving again, so make sure you stay tuned. Check out the other videos with that to come, as well as a video driving the i3S city car as well. Anyway, I'll wrap this up for there. Thanks very much everyone for watching. I really appreciate your support. That is it for now. I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers.